Have you noticed that homes seem to be sitting on the market a little bit longer? Maybe you've heard that buyers finally have more power, or maybe you're asking a bigger question, which is, should I buy now and should I sell? Or maybe should I just wait? The numbers are in, and what they're saying is this: buyers have more choice, sellers can still sell, but both sides need to be patient and have a better plan than they did a few years ago. Today I'm going to show you what happened to the North Okanagan, the Central Okanagan, and the Shuswap. I'm not just going to read you a spreadsheet, I'm going to go through and explain what the numbers actually mean to you. I'm Laura Reners with RE/MAX Vernon Salt Fowler. Let's get into it. If I had to describe July in 3 words, I would say this: a patient market. Homes are selling, people are moving, prices have not fallen off a cliff, but buyers have more homes when it comes to choice. They're taking their time. Think of it like shopping when every shelf is full. You don't need to grab the first thing you see. You can compare, you can ask questions. You will look for the best value. That is what buyers are doing right now. For sellers, this does not mean you cannot sell. It means your price, your condition, and your marketing matter even more because the buyers can easily move on to the next home. Let's start here in the North Okanagan. There were 298 new listings in July. That is almost 24% fewer than last July. Why should we care? Because fewer listings means less competition. There were 1,503 homes listed in total, about 9% fewer at the same time last year. So buyers still have a lot of choice, but the pile of available homes is not growing the way that it was. There were 184 sales in July, down about 5% from last year. Of those, 162 were residential sales. That tells us that the market is not frozen. Buyers are active, they're simply careful. A home took about 73 days on average to sell. That is roughly 2.5 months. So, sellers should plan for time, not expect an offer in the first 2 weeks. The average residential price was under $797,000. The median was $717,500. The median is the middle sale, not the most expensive and not the least expensive. So it can give us some helpful pictures of a typical sale. There were about 8.2 months of inventory. In simple terms, if no new homes were listed, it would take a little over 8 months to sell every home available at July's pace. The bottom line for the North Okanagan: buyers have time and they have choice. Sellers still have buyers, but they must compete for their attention. Now, let's head south into Central Okanagan. This was the largest market of the 3, with 1,043 new listings and 4,016 total listings in July. New listings were down about 12% from last July, and the total listings were down just over 10% from a year ago. Again, buyers have a large menu, but fewer new options are going to be added than last year. There were 467 total sales, just 3% fewer than last year. For residential sales, they were nearly flat at 438. That is important. It says regular home sales held quite steady, even while buyers had thousands of listings to consider. Homes sold in about 53 days on average. That's the fastest of the 3 regions. The average residential price was $1,097,000. The median was $940,000. And there were about 8.6 months of inventory. So this is still a market where buyers can compare homes and negotiate, but good homes at the right price were moving faster. Quick pit stop. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel, where we are dropping new videos just like this every single week. And remember, whether you're looking to move in 9 days or 90 days, or just curious about the area that we call home, be sure to call, text, or email and just add salt. Now, let's look at the Shuswap, because again, it's a bit different. The Shuswap was the softest of the 3 markets in July. There were 221 new listings, about 6% fewer than last year. The total inventory was 1,144 homes, almost the same as last year, but sales slowed more sharply. There were 111 total sales, down almost 21% from last July. Residential sales fell about 17% to 97. Put simply, almost the same number of homes were available, but fewer buyers completed a purchase. Homes took about 58 days to sell on average, and the average residential price was $786,000. The median was $770,000. So the Shuswap had 10.3 months of inventory, the highest of the 3 regions. For a buyer, that can mean more time to look, more homes to compare, and in many cases, more room to negotiate. For a seller, it means you need to be honest about the competition. If a buyer sees better value somewhere else, they're gonna take it. This does not mean every seller must give their house away. It just means that the market is not last year's wish price. Waterfront. Waterfront is smaller and more specialized. So look at year-to-date numbers instead of judging it by 1 month. So far in 2026, there have been 9 residential waterfront sales in the North Okanagan, 33 in the Central Okanagan, and 22 in the Shuswap. Compared to last year, waterfront sales are lower in the North and Central Okanagan, but higher in the Shuswap. The simple message is that waterfront buyers are still buying, but each property is unique and pricing needs to reflect the specific lake, the location, and the access conditions. What this means for buyers. If you're buying, this market gives you something buyers didn't have during the COVID frenzy. Breathing room, you can compare homes, and you can ask questions. You are more likely to have some time for financing and inspections. And depending on the home, you may have room to negotiate. But do not confuse more choice with no competition. A well-priced home in a popular area can still attract interest. The goal is not to wait forever for a perfect market. The goal is to buy the home at the payment you can manage with advice that protects you. What this means if you're a seller. If you're selling, do not panic. Hundreds of properties sold across all 3 regions in July. The buyers are there, the challenge is earning their attention. When buyers have options, an overpriced home can help the correctly priced homes down the street sell first. Your launch matters, your photos matter, your condition matters, and the first price buyers see, that matters. A good strategy is not about choosing the lowest price. It is about choosing a price that makes sense besides the homes buyers will compare to yours. Here is the July takeaway. This is not a hot market, it's not a bad market, but it is a patient market. Buyers have choice, sellers need a strong plan, and the right homes are still selling. If you want to know what this means for your home, your neighborhood, or your next move, make sure you visit saltfowler.com.
Just add salt.